Okay, guys, hello. This is Mr. Adjali. We're here to make a global revision about the baccalaureate exam for the English course. Okay, let's try to start with grammar issues, starting with after and before. Okay, after and before are parameters which consent with the order of the facts. So usually we have a fact on the axis of time, and we have another one that following it. So if we have the fact number 1 and we have the fact number 2, so we will have two sets of actions, and these actions need to be conjugated in different tenses. So for example, in here, if I say Mike, and we have the verb to finish his work, and we have the other example, Mike, and the verb to leave home. Okay, so in here, which one would we attribute the fact number 2, and which one would we attribute the sentence number 1? So in here, normally to finish the work is for number 1, and to leave home is for number 2. Okay, so in this case, based on the grammatical rule, we have the first action, the old one, will be in the past perfect. The second action will be in the past simple. Okay, so it is as easy, as simple as that. So now if you would like to apply those rules, we will say Mike had finished his work, and Mike left home. That's because left is in the past simple. This is an irregular verb. To leave in the past simple is left, and had finished is the past perfect of the verb to finish, because in the past perfect we use the auxiliary to have in the past simple plus the past participle of the verb, and in this case the verb finish is regular. As it is regular verb, so we only add the ed in the end. Now let's use the after and before we talked about. Okay, so after is something that happened next, and before is something that happened priorly in the old. So if I would like to introduce after and before in this context, we will say Mike had finished his work, okay, before he left home. And in this case we replace Mike with he, so that we avoid repetition. So we say Mike had finished his work before he left home. Okay, and on the other hand, if we would like to express the same sentence with after, what would we say? We say after Mike had finished his work, he left home. In this case, we used after. And as you can see here, the conjugation does not change. So Mike had finished, and in here, Mike had finished. So because the verb to finish is the old verb in here, it's the verb number 1. And in here, left home, so it does not change. So if we would like to see how to use the before and after, we see here before he left home, it is attached together. So if I would like to change the place and they tell me to start with before, I will say before Mike left home, he had finished his work. So always before is attached to he left home. And the same thing after is attached to Mike had finished his work. So if I would like to put after in the middle of the sentence, I would say Mike left home after he had finished his work. Okay. So this is for after and before.